My name is Ken Calloway. I'm the lead singer and founding member of the band Cockfight Club. Cockfight Club started basically as my recording project back in 2003. I had been playing around with creating some electronic music, and I just started writing some songs that I thought would work well as rock songs, even though they, still have a large amount of the electronic elements to them. I started recording some of these songs. In the beginning, of course, it was just me. The next thing I knew, I had recorded an album, and then it was. I thought, well, I ought to put together a live band, and so we did. The first album, called Uber Goober, was released in 2005. It was mostly a solo effort. I did bring in some friends to do some various things on the album. I've been playing guitar for a long time, but I'm a very mediocre guitar player. I'm certainly not a lead player. And I brought in a couple of guys to play some solos and some things like that. But mostly I was locked away in my basement, hidden away from the world, working on this album. So that's how it started. Who knows where these things come from? It's like the muse. It's just the creative process sometimes is a mystery. We have made 2 videos, one for H.P. Lovecraft, one for Vampyric. I'm fortunate that I've been working for a production company for several years, and one of the fringe benefits of that is sometimes I'm able to work on my own projects. The first video we made was H.P. Lovecraft. It was definitely a learning experience, but it was really cool because we had the opportunity to do some CG effects and some things that often you don't see in a lower budget video. The first festival that we got accepted to with H.P. Lovecraft was the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival in Portland, Oregon, which was pretty awesome. And that video also screened at the Amberg Horror Fest in Amberg, Germany, and a Night of Horror International Film Festival in Sydney, Australia. So we're pretty happy about that. We just completed the video for Vampyric. We actually started shooting the video for Vampyric. We did all the shooting over a year ago. Just because of various other projects, that came up and this and that, the video was shelved for a while. Just the time just wasn't there to really work on it, because it is a very effects-intensive video. We shot a lot of it on green screen, and a lot of it takes place in a virtual environment, a piece of which hopefully you're seeing here. And so it is a very time-consuming process, but I'm really pleased with the results. As I said, originally Cockfight Club was just my recording project, but once the album was done and I decided I wanted to put together a live band, that was a new experience for me because I had never performed on stage before, actually. We've been through some lineup changes from the original lineup. The one standing member who is still with me is Graceless Lacey. She's been there from the beginning of the live band. I think just about everybody else has turned over at some point, though. Actually, the first show we played, which was at the Princess Theater in Columbus, Mississippi, and I suppose that was in early 2006. The first show, that was the first time that either myself or Lacey had been on stage. Some of the other band was a little more seasoned than we were, but we had a really great first show, and a lot of people. I think what people respond to about Cockfight Club is that it's very different from other bands that you're likely to see in this area, and so we had a very good response from that first show, and really we've had a good response ever since, all the shows that we played. We released our second album in 2007, and that was a little more of a, whereas the first album was, pretty much a solo effort. The second album, I brought the members of the band at that time in, so it was a little more of a band project. Lacey did some vocals, and you know, the other guys performed on the record, and so it was definitely a little more of a band effort. A third album is in the works. Originally, we were going to release that album in 2009. That's been put back a little bit. Frankly, 2009 was a hellish year for me, and you know, I know some of the other band members also had a lot of things going on this year, and so things are kind of delayed, but we do have a what I think is a very good album, a very different album from the other two. It's not quite in the can yet. There's some more work that needs to be done on it, but I think it's really going to surprise people. It's a very different. There's a difference in evolution in the sound from the first record to the second one, and I think the third record is going to carry along in that tradition. So it will surprise a lot of people, I think. It's hard for me to talk about influences because I feel like I'm influenced by so many different types of music, even some that are very different from the music that we play. I think I take little pieces of everything from people automatically assume that my main influences are 9 Inch Nails and Ministry, and that's true. I love those bands, but I can find inspiration in everything from the Ramones to Hank Williams, so. But as far as major influences, I would say 9 Inch Nails, Gary Newman. Them more so the electronic aspects of the music. I would also say influenced in other ways by bands like the Cramps, the Ramones. I think Cockfight Club always has had a little bit of basically a goth rock, maybe a little industrial band with somewhat of a punk rock attitude. Lyrically, I'm not sure exactly where my inspiration for the lyrics comes from, but it seems that I write about things that I like horror movies and science fiction. We do, for some reason, we have a lot of songs about vampires and robots, and these are the things that are part of my everyday life for whatever reason. So that tends to be what comes out in the music sometimes.